Only you and me, he whispered over the engine hum, sliding a glossy envelope into my hands. The ticket said Paris. His wedding ring flashed under the lounge lights. I laughed like it was a joke, until the seat assignment listed my name beside his. That's when I realized this wasn't a gift. It was Alish and I'm 28, a flight attendant in New York with a major airline. I rent a walk-up in Astoria, live on coffee between reserve shifts, and guard my reputation because rumors move faster than planes. My plan is simple: earn seniority, bid better routes, keep my head down. I can't afford drama, and he's my in-flight manager. Polished, charming, married. He wears the ring-like part of the uniform. First red flag. Text me directly if scheduling messes you up, he said, writing his personal number on a napkin. Helpful and extra. And that was the moment I knew a boundary was already bending. NNTHE scene was the JFK VIP lounge after a storm delay. Champagne smell, cold LED light, soft piano, the runway's low roar. He called my name like I'd won something and nudged the envelope across the marble. You deserve Paris, he said. Business class, no strings. He smiled, the kind that expects yes. And I opened it because people were watching. The cardstock was thick. The seat stub had a ridge I couldn't ignore. CDG. 2 seats. Dates that matched my days off. My name. His. Not his wife's. This is too much, I said. He leaned in so close I caught the woody cologne. Only you and me. Don't ruin the magic. Microhook. That's not romance, that's pressure. Colleagues glanced over their flutes. Someone giggled. Someone filmed the runway. And maybe, accidentally, us. Smile or look difficult. That was the choice. If I accept, I become a rumor. If I refuse, I become a problem. Choose your poison. And that's when the stakes felt real. I tried to deflect. Your wife loves Paris, right? He didn't blink. She's busy, he said. You've earned this. Don't be so sensitive. There it was. You're too sensitive. He tapped the envelope like a metronome. Take it. You need someone to show you the good places. The line had teeth. NNHE hovered, introducing me as our rising star. Eyes swung to me. The piano looped. Glasses clinked. The envelope felt heavier in my tote than my rollerboard. That was the moment I knew I needed an exit. NNTHE airline world is tiny. Managers influence routes and evaluations. I don't date at work. I don't accept gifts that look like strings. But labels stick fast. In the employee lot, the cold hit like a slap. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. Return the ticket. He's married. Then a second text. A screenshot of my story. My hand on the envelope, his ring glinting in the corner. I know who you are. Timestamp 017. Microhook. Midnight messages never bring good news. And I didn't respond. I sat until the windshield fogged. The heater clicked. My heart did that hollow thud that makes your seatbelt too tight. Whoever she was, she had my number and a point to make. This didn't read like jealousy. It read like a warning. And that's when fear started to outrun anger. And on the RFK bridge, I replayed the room. Ring, envelope, whisper. In my bag, the paper edge scratched my knuckles when I reached for keys. A physical reminder. The ticket wasn't paper. It was a test. The ring wasn't jewelry. It was an alarm. At home, I set the envelope by a chipped mug and instant ramen. Luxury meets rent day. N and I texted Maya, a senior attendant. Hypothetical. I wrote. She called immediately. Don't say yes, she said. He's tried this. You won't be the first or the last. Her voice steadied me. Microhook. A pattern means it's not personal. It's a tactic. I pressed my back to the fridge, metal cold through my uniform. I wanted to laugh, rip the ticket, sleep. My phone buzzed again. Same unknown number. If you go, I'll make sure everyone knows what you are. Threat packaged as morality. Another line lit in my head. No one will believe you. I photographed the envelope, seat numbers, timestamps. I saved the texts into a folder labeled for HR/union. My hand shook, not from drama, but from simple math. Accept equals risk. Refuse equals retaliation. Choose your poison again. And that's when I realized the only way out was forward, not sideways. The next morning, I walked into briefing trying to act normal. My tote still had the Paris envelope wedged between manuals and spare tights. Every step felt heavier, like the ticket itself was pulling me sideways. He was there already, leaning against the counter like it was his living room. His smile was too practiced. So he said loud enough for everyone to hear, "Ready for our trip?" Microhook. That was the moment I knew silence wasn't safety anymore. It was complicity. Colleagues looked up from iPads. One raised a brow, another smirked. I felt the burn of fluorescent light on my face, like a spotlight I didn't ask for. "I don't know what you mean," I said, voice flat. He chuckled. "Don't play coy. Business class to Paris? That's not something you throw away." His hand brushed the envelope peeking from my bag. I pulled the tote closer. Microhook. He wasn't giving me an out. He was tightening the leash. On board, I did what I always do. Smile, check seatbelts, hand out drinks, but my chest buzzed like static. At 36,000 feet, the hum of engines is usually white noise. This time, it sounded like a warning. In the galley, he blocked the exit just long enough to whisper, "Don't make this harder than it has to be. I'm offering you the world. Without me, you're just another name on the schedule." That toxic phrase stuck like gum. Without me, you're nothing. I wanted to scream, but instead I wrote it down on a napkin. Evidence, not confession. In landing in JFK, my phone lit up again. Same unknown number. Do not go with him. I'll ruin you if you try. Attached was a blurry photo of me in the lounge, envelope in hand. The angle made it look like I was smiling at him. Microhook. Screenshots lie, but in gossip they become truth. And I screenshotted back, saved it to the HR folder. My hands shook as I renamed the file, threat_2.jpg. I almost laughed at the absurdity. Ramen one night, international scandal the next. This wasn't luxury, it was liability. NNTHAT evening, Maya invited me for coffee near LaGuardia. The shop smelled like burnt espresso and cleaning fluid, the kind of neutral background you need for ugly conversations. She leaned in, voice low. "Listen, you're not the first. He's done this with other attendants. One transferred out, another quit. Management ignored it." My stomach dropped. This wasn't a misunderstanding, this was a pattern. And that's when I realized I wasn't paranoid. I was cornered prey. I asked, "Why hasn't anyone reported him?" Maya gave a sad smile. "They tried. HR buried it. He's been here 15 years. Knows the system, knows people." The spoon clinked against her cup. "You'll need more than one complaint." Microhook. Fear multiplies when you realize you're fighting not just a person, but a machine built to protect him. And back home, I lined up my evidence. Ticket, texts, photo, napkin with his phrase. It looked pathetic, like scraps from a bad week. But together, they told a story. I emailed the union rep, subject line. Formal concern, need guidance. I didn't hit send yet. My finger hovered. Because here's the truth. Reporting isn't protection. It's a gamble. Next day, in the crew room, he leaned too close. "We'll make such a good team," he murmured. His ring clicked against the counter as he tapped, like punctuation. "You're special, don't ruin this." Another toxic hit. "Don't ruin this." Translation, "Don't resist me." Colleagues laughed about flight delays, oblivious. I stared at the ring. Symbol number 2. Flashing under fluorescent light. Microhook. The ring wasn't a promise to his wife. It was a threat to me. NNTHAT night, I finally hit send. The email whooshed out like ripping a Band-Aid. I half expected cops at my door, or my schedule wiped clean. Instead, silence until 2 a.m. My phone buzzed again. "You'll regret this. People will think you begged for it." My throat went dry. That phrase, "people will think you begged for it," burned worse than the others. Because in this industry, Reputation kills faster than mistakes. I forwarded the message to the rep. Subject: update. Escalation. Then I turned the phone face down, like that could mute the fear. I lay awake, the envelope still on my desk, edges curling from humidity. The hum of planes overhead didn't soothe me anymore. It pressed down, constant reminder of how small I was. But there was a crack of relief too. I wasn't silent anymore. And that was the moment I knew. I'd chosen the fight, not the leash. The following week, the union representative finally replied. Subject line: we need to talk, urgently. My stomach dropped before I even opened it. Inside, the message was short. Do not travel with him. Bring everything you have. Tomorrow, 9 a.m., union office. Microhook. That was the moment I knew the game was real, and I wasn't crazy. I barely slept. At dawn, I shoved the envelope, screenshots, and napkin into a folder. The union office smelled like old carpet and stale coffee. The rep, a woman named Carla, was blunt. You're not the first, she said, sliding a file across the desk. My heart thudded. Inside were notes. Different handwriting, same story. Business class gifts, midnight texts, the same phrases recycled. Don't ruin this. No one will believe you. Without me, you're nothing. I wanted to throw up. Fear crawled up my throat. Why is he still here? I whispered. Carla's face hardened. Because HR buries it. He's protected. But now, we have numbers. You plus them. Microhook. The difference between an isolated complaint and a pattern is daylight. And daylight hurts predators. NNSHE outlined the plan. Formal grievance, evidence collected, colleagues willing to testify. It will get ugly, she warned. He'll retaliate. They always do. Her words made my palms sweat against the plastic chair. Retaliation wasn't a maybe. It was a schedule I'd just been added to. NNTHAT afternoon. He cornered me near gate C34. Crowds rushed by, rolling suitcases clicking on tile. We need to talk, he hissed, blocking my path. I tried to step around him. He gripped my arm. Not hard, but enough. You think you're smart? HR is on my side. You're disposable. His cologne mixed with the jet fuel smell, nauseating. I yanked free. Don't touch me. People glanced over. A gate agent frowned. Microhook. Public cracks in the mask are the start of collapse. An NTHAT night. Another message buzzed in. You'll end up like the others. Gone. No name. Same number. I forwarded it to Carla. She replied instantly. Keep everything. Don't respond. Meeting with HR soon. My phone screen burned my eyes in the dark. Every vibration felt like a threat. I set it face down, but the fear pulsed anyway. N days later, HR summoned me. Windowless office. Fluorescent buzz. Fake plant in the corner. 2 managers, 1 HR representative. He was there too, smiling like he owned the room. We're here to clarify a misunderstanding. The HR representative began, tone rehearsed. He leaned back, crossing his arms. She's just sensitive, he said smoothly. I was mentoring, offering opportunities. Toxic phrase again. She's too sensitive. My jaw clenched, and I slid the folder onto the table. Ticket. Screenshots. Midnight threats. The napkin. This isn't sensitivity, I said. My voice shook, but I kept going. This is evidence. His smile faltered, just for a second. Microhook. Masks don't crack all at once. They splinter. NNTHEHR, representative flipped through the pages. The room went quiet, except for the hum of the overhead light. Finally, she looked at him. Did you send these messages? His face flushed. Anyone can fake texts. He turned to me, voice lower, meaner. You'll regret this. You're nothing without me. That phrase again, louder now, with witnesses. Carla leaned forward from her seat. Funny, she said, pulling out another folder. Because 2 other attendants filed the exact same complaints, same words, same tactics, same ring in the photo. She slid copies across the table, his face drained of color. Microhook. Patterns don't lie, even when people do. NNTHEHR rep's tone shifted. We'll need to review this further. For now, you're relieved from managerial duties. His chair screeched as he stood. This is a witch hunt, he barked. He stormed out, slamming the door. Silence filled the room. My hands shook so badly I pressed them under the table to hide it. Now after Carla walked me out. It's not over, she said quietly. But the tide just turned. I nodded, throat tight. She was right. This wasn't victory yet. It was the first crack in the wall. NNTHAT night. I sat on my couch, ramen steaming, envelope still on the desk. Same symbols, different meaning now. The ticket wasn't a leash anymore, it was Exhibit A. His ring wasn't a silent threat, it was evidence of hypocrisy. And that was the moment I realized. Fear hadn't left. But for the first time, I wasn't alone in it. 2 days later, the rumor mill exploded. Flight crews gossip faster than turbulence. Someone leaked that he was under review. I didn't say a word, but eyes followed me in the lounge. Whispers rose when he walked in, no longer swaggering. His ring, once a symbol of authority, now caught the fluorescent light like a warning flare. Microhook. Power doesn't disappear quietly. It unravels in front of everyone. NNHE tried to keep control. At a briefing, he smiled wide, voice louder than usual. We're a family here, right? He said, looking around like a politician. Nobody answered. The silence was louder than the engines outside. I sat stiff, pen tapping against my folder. For once, he didn't call me out by name. His hands twitched. Small cracks, but visible. NNTHAT night. Another midnight text. You've ruined everything. You'll go down with me. This time, I didn't flinch. I screenshot it, sent it to Carla. Her reply, perfect. Retaliation documented. I almost laughed at the word, perfect. Nothing about this felt perfect. But every toxic phrase was now ammunition, not just fear. Microhook. Evidence changes the weight of words. Then came the public scene. At JFK, gate packed with passengers, he cornered me near the podium. You think you've won? He hissed, low but sharp. You're making a mistake. Without me, you'll rot in coach forever. I froze, passengers watching. A woman raised her phone, maybe recording. Step back, I said, louder than I meant. Heads turned. A gate agent intervened. Is everything okay? He plastered on a smile. Just a misunderstanding. But the agent's frown lingered. Microhook. Once witnesses see the mask slip, they never unsee it. NNHR moved faster after that. They called more attendants, pulled schedules, checked rosters. Word spread. Others spoke up. Patterns stacked like bricks. Every brick weighed on him. He stopped showing up to briefings. His name vanished from rosters. People whispered, suspended, like it was a secret, though everyone knew. For the first time, I exhaled without the metallic taste of fear. NNBUT, then came the twist I didn't expect. His wife. Or maybe ex-wife by then. An email landed in my inbox from an unknown address. Subject, I believe you. Inside was a screenshot of her own. His messages to another woman. Same phrases. Same ring in frame. He used to say no one would believe me either, she wrote. My chest tightened. She wasn't a rival. She was collateral damage. Microhook. Sometimes the ally you fear is actually the missing piece. And Carla pushed HR to expand. You can't ignore this anymore, she said in a meeting. Multiple victims. Multiple years. HR's faces were pale. They knew. The tide had turned from denial to damage control. I watched their eyes dart, calculating risk to the company, not to us. Still, leverage was leverage. N weeks blurred. My schedule shifted. fewer red eyes, more calm routes. He disappeared entirely. Rumor said he was on leave. Others said, terminated quietly. No statement, no headline, just absence. But absence is loud when someone once filled every corner with intimidation. Then the second public crack. Crew lounge at LaGuardia. Someone pulled up a forum thread, anonymous post but clearly about him. Manager offers Paris trips for silence. The title read. Comments stacked fast. People shared stories. Half jokes, half wounds. My hands shook as I scrolled. It wasn't just me. It never was. And that was the moment I knew. I hadn't only broken free. I'd started something bigger. NN-BUT victory didn't feel clean. Fear lingered like engine hum in an empty cabin. At night, my phone buzz still made my chest tighten. I still eyed my tote, where the Paris ticket lived in a folder. A relic now, not a leash. A symbol that luxury without consent is just another form of control. The ring, the ticket, the texts. They weren't scars. They were receipts. One evening, Maya clinked a mug of coffee against mine. You did it, she said simply. I laughed, bitter. Feels more like I survived it. She shook her head. Survival is the win. Don't downplay it. Her voice steadied me more than she knew. Microhook. Sometimes the smallest validation hits harder than any HR report. NNSO, here I am, telling you this not because I want pity, but because I know I'm not alone. It wasn't a gift. It was a trap. And sometimes the bravest thing you can do is call a trap what it is, even if the world calls it a privilege. Months later, the official memo finally came down. Termination due to violations of conduct policy. No name listed, but everyone knew. In this industry, news spreads faster than boarding groups. He was gone. Just like that, 15 years of swagger dissolved into silence. Microhook. Sometimes justice doesn't arrive with sirens, but with absence. At first, I didn't celebrate. I kept waiting for the other shoe to drop. Another text, another rumor, another midnight buzz. But nothing came. His number went dark. My roots filled with new faces. The hum of engines sounded like background again, not a threat. For the first time in months, I caught myself smiling at takeoff instead of grinding my jaw. Passengers still asked the same questions. Is Paris really romantic? What's the best place to sit? I smiled, gave the usual tips. But every time someone said Paris, I thought of that envelope on my desk. I still hadn't thrown it away. The edges curled now, yellowing. It wasn't paper anymore. It was proof. A reminder that not all gifts are gifts. Some are chains wrapped in ribbon. NNTHE final scene came unexpectedly. At LaGuardia, in the crew lounge, someone pulled up his LinkedIn. Look, they whispered. Profile blank. Connections gone. No shiny job title. Just silence. Someone snorted. Guess Paris didn't save him. Laughter bubbled, sharp but short. I stayed quiet. It wasn't funny to me. It was just finished. Microhook. Endings rarely feel like fireworks. More like someone cut the engines, and you're just gliding. And weeks later, an email from his wife, well, ex-wife now, arrived. Thank you, it read, for not staying quiet, for proving I wasn't crazy. I stared at the words for a long time. Gratitude. From someone I thought was an enemy. My throat tightened. I typed back. You weren't crazy. None of us were. Then I closed the laptop and finally exhaled. NNTHE union representative called to update me. Because of this, we're changing policy. Gifts from management will require reporting. No more. Personal favors. It was small, but real. Policy born from pain. I thought of the others who quit, who never saw change. Maybe they'd never know, but the system was shifting, even if just an inch. Microhook. Sometimes victory isn't personal, it's structural. Anne and I started therapy. My counselor asked why I'd kept the ticket. I shrugged. To remind myself it wasn't my imagination. She nodded. That's not a leash anymore. That's your receipt. The word stuck. Receipt. Proof that it happened, that I didn't invent the fear. Proof that I fought back. That reframe mattered more than the HR memo ever did. And one evening, I walked across the RFK bridge, headphones in, wind whipping my uniform. I watched a plane climb through clouds, engines glowing. For the first time in months, I didn't picture his face in the cockpit. I pictured myself, free. That was the moment I knew. The cage had opened. Not golden, just gone. NNDO. I feel triumphant? Some days. Other days, just tired. But I learned this. Luxury without respect is manipulation, and silence is the predator's favorite ally. I chose not to be silent, even when my voice shook. That's the closest thing to freedom I've felt in years. NNSO, here's my question to you. Reddit, what would you have done? Taken the ticket and played along, hoping it stayed secret? Or torn it up and risked your career? Because in my world, sometimes the line between opportunity and trap is just one envelope thick.